think it's important to diversify the curriculum and to change the units we're teaching, because history is such a global, all-encompassing topic, and what we live today is because of the past that we've had, and so it's really important to show students those multi-dimensional, multi-perspective, multi-experienced ideas and units. Scholarship is always changing for history, and so it's important to have that ever-evolving new research involved in our units to really show students that it's an up-to-date topic for them to be a part of. But also it's important because students should be engaged in the world they are. They should be able to understand where we've got to based on the past. Over the last 12 to 18 months, I've been adapting and diversifying the Year 7, 8 and 9 Key Stage 3 history curriculums at Bedford Academy. For Year 7, they've been looking at how connected the medieval world was. So what we've brought in is a global trade unit on the Silk Roads, which goes from BC right through to AD, and so they can see the development of knowledge, of trade and of religions across these empires and countries, and this is constantly referred back to because it connects to all of our later units as well. Another unit we've brought in Year 7 is the medieval Kingdom of Mali, where we look at its establishment and its foundations, and then look at different rulers and the rules and the wealth that they have, because it was one of the wealthiest medieval kingdoms at the time. And then they're able to compare those systems of rule and leadership to the unit that they've done on British monarchs, and so it's really helping them understand the global picture in Year 7 of history and different places. In Year 8, our inquiry question for the overarching year group is looking at how ideas of race, people, gender, religion have changed over time. So we do the typical topic of the Tudors, but we're really shaping on the religious changes and how it impacts people and society at the time. And then we develop on to still looking at the Tudor period, but looking at new scholarship, where we look at the Black Tudors and the role they had and how this really contrasts their misconceptions and their perceptions of people at the time. Also in Year 8, we're going to be bringing in some LGBTQ history with Anne Lister and really challenging the idea of gender, of female entrepreneurs and business people at the time of the Industrial Revolution. And then Year 9, we're moving on to more of the modern time period, the 20th century, but looking at how politics have shaped global events and the world that we live in today. So although we do topics such as World War I, World War II, we're going to be doing it through sort of forgotten armies and forgotten voices, so real individuals that have been part of the British Empire, for example, in these colonies, but how they fought and the contributions they made or the impacts it had on them. I think our students have really enjoyed some of the new units we've brought in this year. You can sort of assess that based on their ability to recall certain stories and narratives that we've learned about. For example, the Black Tudors, we are able to sequence and retrieve on quite frequent occasions for Year 8, and their ability to do that potentially more successfully than some other knowledge we've taught them this year shows that their engagement and their enjoyment of that topic really challenged their misconceptions and has stayed with them for a longer time period. But what is good to hear is that individual teachers and schools are doing what they can, and so sometimes the specification doesn't always name individuals you have to teach. So the history of medicine and health and the people at AQA, you're able to bring in as much research on diverse individuals or female nurses or female doctors at the time to your curriculum as you wish. I think probably from the traditional male, pale and stale units that we used to do at Key Stage 3 at a lot of secondary schools across England, we're just doing a bit of a disservice to students who want to study history at a later date. They are not best equipped for the GCSEs, which are so global and in-depth studies, then at A-level, and then obviously at university we get a free-for-all to pick your units pretty much. There's a whole world of history out there, and we haven't given them a flavour for that at Key Stage 3. Through this diversification process, we're hopefully supporting students on their long-term journey of learning history at later stages.